Hey everybody, I'm back again to squeeze in another book review before I've got to leave. This one is going to be quite short though, at least I hope. Sometimes I tend to ramble longer than I planned. It is on Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. You may or may not recognize the title from the Studio Ghibli film of the same name, which it was an adaptation of this book, obviously. I have not seen the film, even though I had originally planned to when it came out, and I had almost bought it after it came out on DVD, but then I decided to get something else that day instead because I had just a limited amount of money to spend, and I bought something else. So I have not seen the movie, but I've heard it's really good, and I was interested in checking out the book first because I did not originally know all those years that it was based on a book. And this is a book set in a fantasy land called Angry, and the story starts out where there's this man with 3 daughters, Sophie, the oldest, Letty, and Martha, and he has a pretty young wife named Fanny, who is Sophie and Letty's stepmother and Martha's mother. The dad dies and the shop isn't doing well, so Fanny decides to have the girls go out and earn their fortunes, but she keeps Sophie at home to work at the hat shop so she can inherit the hat shop. Sophie is really gifted with making hats, but she finds the work really dull. And then one day the evil witch of the waste comes in and is not satisfied with the hat and then turns Sophie into an old woman. So Sophie's kind of just in shock, and she just wanders around outside and goes to the titular Howl's Moving Castle, which is the home of Wizard Howl, who is this lecherous wizard who supposedly eats women's hearts. And Sophie's like, hey, I'm an old woman now, so I'm not in any danger from him, and apparently she thinks that somehow she can get restored by going there, so she tells Howl that she is going to be his new housekeeper, and the place is really a mess, so she cleans up a lot there. And then from living there, she finds out more about the wizard's background and how the stories of like her sisters are all connected with Howl in some way, and just that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, my opinion of this book was not very positive at all. I thought it was just quite boring. I originally tried to start reading it about a year ago, and I read a few pages and then I put the book down, and so like, hey, you know, why don't I go back to it now and maybe it picks up. It really didn't. I thought the concept was incredibly interesting, but the storytelling itself, for some reason, it really seemed like, even though it's young adult, it really seemed like it was geared towards younger readers. I thought it was really dull and not very engaging at all, which I was really disappointed about. Like, I didn't really care about Sophie. I thought Howl was definitely the most interesting of the characters, but honestly, he didn't do much for me either, neither did anyone else, but I kept up with it until the end. And probably the most interesting part is where Howl actually came from, and his background, which I won't spoil. That was probably the only part of the book where I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat, and that was about it. The rest I was just like, yeah, whatever. And it wasn't terrible. And apparently this is like a classic fantasy, and that it really has a lot of people who love it, and you know, fans and stuff if you look on the internet. But I just didn't fall into that. I didn't get the appeal, sadly. And it has, I think there's other related books which I'm not going to be reading, but I will probably sometime in the future check out the movie, because it's apparently changed a lot of things from the book, and I think in movie form it should be a little bit less boring, even though I tend to generally like books better than movies. I can only give Howl's Moving Castle a 2 out of 5 for the really interesting concept and world building and Howl's backstory, but overall it was meh. And that's it for today. I will see you guys in my next video.